Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here. Turkey is halting most of the rescue efforts for earthquake survivors. This is an article from CNN, and I really haven't covered this much on the channel here and in our community, and it's an absolute tragedy what has happened, and just done some praying about it over the last few weeks, but I just haven't talked about it, just on the channel, I guess, openly in public. And I think what is most alarming. I knew there was a lot of people that died, thousands and thousands of people. I didn't realize that was 46,000 people. Uh, just there's nothing you can say. There's no words that can describe what's going on here. And you hear about these stories, right here, obviously 46,000 total between Turkey and Syria, and I don't remember anything like this in my lifetime, in 35 years, seeing anything like this. And it really is remarkable what has happened. And one of the things I truly didn't realize is we're learning and growing every single day is there's the fault lines that go right through there in different plates. Obviously, when you have an earthquake like this that causes that much damage and destruction, boy, I just didn't even realize. Again, the point of the video I want to make here is, number one, to just think about those people that are struggling and suffering. And someone in one of the Bitcoin spaces the other day was talking about they are over in Europe and they have family members that are there, and know a lot of people that have lost a lot of loved ones. And it was just really, he's having a hard time. He's like, I have to turn the news off. I have to turn everything off just because I literally can't take it anymore. But he's like, I feel incredibly bad because I feel like I'm leaving them behind. I feel like I'm literally just like kicking dirt on them, for lack of a better phrase, and because I'm like turning my back, but I just can't physically and mentally take it anymore. Watching us seeing this for 2 weeks straight, and it really drove just the human suffering home for me of what is actually happening. And us here in the West, we have it so good generally, and we think about these little things, argue about these little political footballs that we create just to divide ourselves, and and you realize the things that are going on around us. If we zoom out, Carl Sagan's pale blue dot, if we realize that me, I'm not the center of the universe. My family's not. We in general are not the center of the universe, and humans in general. Like, you zoom out, and just the Earth is just pale little blue dot, this speck of sand in this massive, massive beach of the universe, and you realize how small you are and how insignificant you are at the end of the day. And we are constantly doing things, not getting along, being divided, being polarized. For what reason? At the end of the day, for what reason? And life goes that quickly, that fast. Whether it's medical stuff going on, whether it's a lot of human caused things, whether it's acts of nature, acts of God, things like this. There's always a reason. We always talk about, in great crisis, in great chaos, there comes greater order and greater opportunity. And that's the thing to remember at the end of the day. My brother and I got to spend some time with family this weekend. Hopefully you did as well. And we were talking about sports and how if you just won for 50 years straight or 100 years straight, you just always won the championship every year, it wouldn't be much of a sport. There wouldn't really be much joy in the winning. And unfortunately, life is what it is. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden chose to go the path of mortality and know what good and evil and taste from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And now we know that. Now we know mortality. Now we know good and bad. Now we know joy and sadness. At the same time, to have joy, though, you need sadness, or otherwise, what is joy? At the end of the day, if you can't have joy, you don't know what winning feels like if you don't know what sadness feels like. So my point with all this is that having perspective, obviously praying for those that are affected in the stories, the heroism, the rescuers. I always find it phenomenal, the rescuers, and just amazing, really the rescue efforts that go into stuff like this, and the people putting their lives on the line, sacrificing what's happening, and then also the people that are obviously suffering, literal, physical, mental suffering. And you just, I always, whenever these things come up, I just think, boy, I hope I'm that tough. I hope I'm that tough. I always think I'm tough. I think I'm tough mentally, physically, and keeping my body in shape, and just being a part of my lifestyle and who I've been for decades. But I hope I'm that tough, and then you have these people out there, kids, women, children, elderly, that are, man, that person might be a lot tougher than me. Oh, that one right there. Yeah, that one, I think, yeah, boy, am I that tough? Am I that tough as that child there? Am I as tough as that elderly woman? And you have these moments of real humility and seeing these people and the things they're doing and realizing, man, I'm not nearly as tough as I think I am. And again, point being is that it's personal development at the end of the day. It's life is about growth and about getting better, using our talents and abilities that God gives us, the higher being gives us, and how can we be empathetic, and how can we also take the unhappiness and turn it into joy? What can we find in that instead of dwelling on half glass empty? How can we think of half glass full and think of the camaraderie being built? Think of the relationships that are being built through the devastation of things that are being destroyed. Think of all the growth that comes from that, and that will come from that, and the life partnerships and relationships that are being formed, and people working together and doing amazing things together to rebuild things, and not just now, but in the future as well, and rebuilding things. What will happen? What will spring up from that new life, and how do we better things? And that's how God works a lot of times. We are all parts of the system, and we don't know what role we play always, and a lot of us never know, quite honestly. And that's what people are trying to figure out. However, we do know this: we ourselves can choose every single day, the start of a new week today, Sunday. How can we get better every single day? How can we get a little bit better each day, and use the talents and abilities to better ourselves and what God has given us, the gifts we've been given, and then better the people around us? At the end of the day, that's what life's about. I truly believe that. It's where we are people that are good, because we're made in God's image. We are good people, and we choose to go astray. We all choose to go astray in different varying levels, obviously, and He wants us back. He wants us back to Him, and it's being aligned and being centered and being moral and ethical and sound people. That's really what it is, using our talents and our abilities He has given us, those gifts, not letting them go to waste, using those gifts to better ourselves and better humanity, better the people around us, because not everyone knows that. We are privileged people in the fact that we know that that's possible. We know that that's really what life's about at the end of the day, and growing together and building up earth and its people, and not everyone knows that, and it's on us to go spread that message and go spread joy and hope and the potential for human beings, the potential we all have, God's highest form of creation. So I wanted to bring light to this because I felt that it needed to be talked to about just what's going on there in the Middle East and in Turkey and Syria mainly, and just some geographical lessons of I didn't even realize that these plates, certain plates, were in that region and that they had really bad earthquakes like that. I knew they had stuff, but I didn't know it could be that bad. And when I was doing some research and just looking at the plates and the earth and it's just mind blowing. And then just seeing the heroism coming out of there and what we can all learn together, that life is short at the end of the day. What are we using it for? What are we doing with that life, that time we've been given, that we are so blessed just to have life itself. And the odds are impossible to calculate of even becoming a human being. So the fact that you get to be a human being in the first place, defying, literally winning 1 trillion jackpots over and over and over again, basically simultaneously, just back to back to back, a trillion times over. That's in essence the only calculation I can think of as to how hard it is to become a human being. So it's not as easy as saying, hey, mom's got a trillion cells and dad's got a trillion cells, and do the math. It's not as easy, because you got to think of all the past humans that came before you, and every single decision everyone's made affects everyone else. And this person met that person met the wrong person, and you're not here. So it's not just mom, dad, cells together and to figure out the calculation. What's the odds? It goes way beyond that. It's a rabbit hole for a different day. But I appreciate you being part of this community. I appreciate what we're building together, because I know deep down in my heart, I have a mission, and I've had a mission for a long time to hopefully get to truth and talk about things that people don't want to talk about reality and truth, and dig deep, ask why, question everything with boldness, even the existence of God Himself, right? And get to these answers and find that progress to get our talents and our abilities to a level where hopefully He would appreciate that and say, hey, job well done. Thank you for using the talents I gave you. And that's something that drives me, is scaring the living daylights out of me, that I get there someday and that I'm asked, hey, I gave you all these talents. I gave you these things, and you chose to spit on me. You chose to do nothing with them. You chose to sit around and play video games all day. You chose to sit around and do drugs all day long and just waste away what I've given you, the temple I've given you, and you chose to destroy your body. You chose to not take care of it. You chose to, whatever it may be. That is the threat, I guess, or the feeling that I believe one should have, that I have, that literally being scared of not using the gifts that I've been given. So I appreciate you being part of this community, and it's a very special community because of you and the relationship that we create. And that, I think, is one of the most important things of all, as we talk about all the time, building community. And I just appreciate you being here. And it's another start of a new week to make it a great week, to make it a great day, make it a great week, going forward and stacking those on top of each other. So I appreciate your time and your energy, the most important asset we have, the most important asset we have. And again, if you like what we're doing here, if you think it might resonate with someone, please share it. Because again, the algorithm doesn't like truth. It doesn't like reality. It doesn't like common sense. So we are the only people that can spread truth. And I hope every single person that hears these messages goes and starts their own YouTube channel, goes and starts their own blog. And we need truth and reality and morality to be overwhelming the system. We need that. We need 10,000 times as many people talking and speaking their truth. So I appreciate you more than you know, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.